I'm Paul Michelman, Director of Content for Harvard Business Digital, and I'm here today with David Kester, CEO of Design Council. David, thanks for joining me.
It's a pleasure, Paul.
Okay, great. Well, I think you're going to be in a great position to help us fulfill our mission today, which is to help managers deal with the most fundamental issues that pertain to leading innovation in their companies. So to get us going, name two things you believe every leader must do to facilitate ongoing innovation.
Yeah, well, I think the first thing probably is they've got to create a culture in the business which allows innovation to take place. And what is that culture? It's something to do with openness. It's something to do with allowing ideas to be fostered. It's about allowing creativity to flourish. But also it's about creating controls around that too. So I think it's the first thing is it's the culture of innovation, and that has to come from the top. And the second thing is then the habits. Because it's all very well to have the culture, but actually unless you've really got the rigor in the processes, in your recruitment strategies, that you've got it flowing right through your business. You know, it's how you hire your talent and understanding what an innovation culture is and building it into your HR policy. Or it's how you understand innovation and build it into your finances so that actually you understand how you're managing risk and governance within the business. So everybody then has to own it, build it into their habits and processes. So I'd say the two important words, culture and habits.
Okay, so just so I understand what you're saying, in terms of the habits, we're talking about a kind of a systematic approach to the way you run a business with innovation foremost in mind. I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but is that correct?
That's absolutely. I mean, you know, if most businesses are only going to survive by not just constantly iterating, which is very important too, but also by developing new ideas, which they're going to be bringing to the market. Now, those businesses that are going to be most successful are going to be drawing those ideas from the market. They're not going to be looking inwards and thinking that they've got and panicking, here I am, I'm the innovation manager, or I'm the product development manager, and I've got to come up with this idea by tomorrow. They're companies that are looking outwards. And they are working with their customers, they're working with their stakeholders. Now, to do that, you've got to do that in a disciplined way. You know, you don't want to be tossing ideas out into the market and then they're huge failures and an embarrassment and they're creating the reputational damage to your company. You're going to do it in a controlled way and you're going to manage that properly. So that's then about having rigorous process around the early stages, around having ideas, many, about honing ideas down, often actually not even just about having the ideas, but understanding the problem that you've got in the first place, and using good process to understand the very nub of your problem. Maybe your problem, actually, you know, that famous saying, you know, people don't want a 6-inch drill, they want a 6-inch hole. Really understanding what it is that the consumer wants in your particular area.
So let's put ourselves in the position of a manager in an organization that's actually had a very consistent business model for years and is now really embracing innovation. There's been a change in the market. Their attitude is changing. But they're beginning to encounter resistance from longtime employees who are used to doing things a certain way. What advice do you give to that manager on bringing people along with the new spirit?
Well, I think probably the most important thing is always to maintain some leadership from on top and recognize and talk about the issues. Communication is everything. And create control so that people don't feel totally intimidated by the changes. You know, things, you know, you can chunk things down. Things don't need to look like these are monumental cliff edges within a business. You can say, we're going to have a look at what these possibilities might be. And this is going to stop here. We're going to review it at that point. So actually you can immediately take the heat out of the fear factor that might begin to sort of bubble up within the business. That can be important, but you've got to do that. So the leader's got to own that piece, that communication piece. But the second piece is you can actually introduce some animators into the business. And I would say that, wouldn't I? But it's absolutely true. Outside individuals often have a perspective and they're connectors across different worlds, and they can be very, very helpful, particularly when you're trying to move the innovation piece forward. And designers increasingly come into that. They're not the only. Designers are not some sort of silver bullet, and there are many, many different components to innovation. But increasingly we're finding that companies, whether that's P&G, and we've heard Lafley say that, you know, his company is a design company, you know, they're increasingly bringing design in to open up the possibilities, to look at what a new business opportunity might look like, a new product, prototype ideas. We call it failing early and cheap sometimes, opening up those in a controlled way, and then maybe visualizing some of your ideas, maybe connecting things, connecting different worlds. And great innovation often happens by the collision of ideas.
Okay. David, of all the products and services you've come across lately, what's your favorite innovation?
Well, I'd probably cite, God, can I cite two?
You may indeed.
I'd probably start with a business that I've seen evolve recently in London, and it's been very, very interesting, and it's called Streetcar. Now, there are similarities and there are sort of parallel businesses that are just opening up in other cities as well. And this is where you, instead of owning a car, join a car club and use a car for an hour or 2 hours. But what this company has done is it's really understood the service that they need to offer and the experience that they're creating, and creating a viable alternative then to owning the car. And they've developed this very, very smartly, very cutely, and it's been taken right through to the product quality as well. So how you're ordering it online, the little touch points when you actually get to the car, and how you plug in your number into the car or swipe to get your keys from the glove compartment, or even down to the point that if you deliver your car back late, you're penalised, but the penalty actually goes to the person you're inconveniencing. Now, these are lovely, they've really developed this, and they've created a whole brand and a service, very, very successful. And I think in this day and age, when we're looking at sustainable alternatives to transport and so forth, having people innovating in this space is very, very interesting. So I was, and also I was very fascinated at the fact that this company had actually brought in strategic designers to help them actually build the whole system up, working with consumers. So I think it's a very good example of innovation. The other example I'd give is one that we've actually worked on ourselves, which was in the health service. And we've been working with a number of NHS trusts in the UK. And this was in the particular area of disease prevention and diabetes and chronic disease management. And this is a huge problem, as we know, the world over. We've got obesity on the rise. We've got the issues of people suffering from chronic disease overwhelming health services, and whether that's insurance companies and can people afford it, or whether it's national health systems and can they afford it. So these are big problems that we all face in the developed world today. And what we were asked to look at is, what are the new tools and services that could be offered that could reduce the pressure on the acute care? In this case, we offered an open innovation model, and we worked with people who are suffering from diabetes and people who are in high-risk groups. And the insight that came from the users was that there's a whole bunch of stuff that never gets discussed in a doctor's surgery, and it's hidden. And there's a lot of different variables out there. And this was stuff like, I don't cook my own food, or my eyesight's bad, or I smoke a lot. And a whole stream of insights which were coming from users. And what the design teams did was they identified that the fact that these particular symptoms are not coming into the doctor's surgery is in itself a problem, and there's a solution to that. And so they worked at what is the solution to that problem. And the solution was ultimately a pack of cards linked to a computer system. And the pack of cards was offered to the patient before going in. You've got 6 minutes to spend with your doctor. Sift and find the 3 cards that apply to you and put them on the table. And I brought problems that were never discussed, and the doctors were operating the computer system. Each card was numbered so that it would refer them immediately to potential solutions to those particular problems. And it's such a simple innovation and a simple service offering, non-high tech, just very beautiful, very, very simple, and it's working. And it's been adopted by the NHS in Bolton.
Terrific. David Kester, great insights. Thank you very much.
Not at all. Not at all. Nice to meet you.